You're not a dancer?
No, it depends. I have my moments,
Yeah.
you know? I feel like I have it, and then sometimes I don't have it, you know?
Okay.
And it doesn't always depend on the alcohol, but, you know, the alcohol sure can give you courage sometimes. But, you know, sometimes I've got some rhythm, and then, you know. Like, you know when when you're dancing and you have it and then you lose it, that feeling where you have rhythm and then you lose it and then you're trying to find it again? That's the worst.
Yeah, I'm ethnically not allowed to lose it. Yeah, I don't
and
know.
even if you do, we don't even know.
Yeah, no. People are like, oh, look at that new dance. He's going off. Okay, he's going off beat a little bit on. Yeah, no.
That's a stylistic choice, I'm sure.
I think you can tell when a black person is starting to lose rhythm because they just stop dancing and leave the dance floor. And they go, I'm gonna wait for my song to come on.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I stop and then I am like, okay, I'll take a second and then I'll find the groove again. And I'm like, okay, I got this.
Yeah. Are you like a one hand up, two hands up dancer?
Not ironically.
Yeah.
So yes, ironically is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, you know, you can do the little, I don't really know what this is. What era of dancing is that?
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen this before. What is
It's
this,
like
the
1920s,
50s, 20s?
Yeah. 20s era.
I'm not good with my decades.
Yeah. All right.
Ansley, can you dance? Do you have a...
I will dance.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember in high school, I went to homecoming and just my boyfriend at the time, who is not ethnically challenged, he was
Wait, what does that mean?
He's not white.
Okay.
He's still not white as far as I know.
From what I understand, all minorities are technically ethnically challenged.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what? Perspective. What a wild thing.
Yeah.
So let's be clear. He was not white, but I just him like trying to get me out of rhythm, like, you know, because it's like high school dancing, so it's a lot of like bump and grind and all that trash. But yeah, so it just depends. Dancing is okay sometimes. I am like a little I'm very confident that you guys could both probably. I mean, you guys both do MMA, right? Like, I just think about I would lose a fight to probably everyone in this household, including your children.
Yeah. I mean, fair, but.
If it was all three of them, I think I could take them individually. But if all three of them ganged up on me, I'm like, I don't know. You know, they probably know some moves.
Finn might be a challenge all by himself.
Maybe.
I think you could take the girls out.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that bit. That's a little bit.
All right. I think we can start this podcast. I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
Two Jack Bros. Two Jack Bros.
Welcome back to Two Jack Bros. And if it is your first time, thank you. No, that's not how I want to start it.
Yeah. Because I did this and I regret it.
That's actually, I saw you do that out of the corner of my eyes. I'm like, no, that's not how we're starting this podcast.
Okay.
I'm giving her a second chance.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I might need a third.
All right, now it's time. Now it's time to start the podcast.
Two Jack Bros. Two Jack Bros.
Welcome back to Two Jack Bros. And if it is your first time, thank you. Welcome to you, and thank you for giving us a shot. I am Sidney. I am sitting next to Ansley.
Hello.
And today our guest is none other than the Abby Rosenquist.
That's me. Thank you for having me.
God damn it, we got to start over again.
Again?
No, we're good. We're good. That was perfect. So, Abby, are you at all aware of what we do on this podcast?
Almost not at all.
Okay.
I see clips. I've seen some clips, and I enjoy y'all's chemistry and as people. I assumed there's something. Is there like a... Am I going to have to get... Are we fighting? What is this? I don't know. It's Two Jack Bros. Like, do you guys talk MMA? And, like, do you guys focus on that? Or... Fill me in.
100% not at all.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So the whole premise of this podcast is to prove that you can have a sense of humor and still be a person that can reach enlightenment or a higher conscious. So what we do on this podcast is we take you, our guest, through the process of enlightenment by asking questions. Everybody gets the same questions. And then the people that are watching and listening, they get to achieve enlightenment or a higher consciousness vicariously through your hard work.
Okay.
Yeah? Wow. You are enthusiastically
You're
down.
welcome.
Yeah. That's awesome. So,
So wait, every time you've had a guest on, they've had the same questions.
Everybody gets the same questions.
Okay, all right. Now I have to go back and watch what other people say, but let's see. I'm very curious what these questions are.
Okay, so each question is going to be associated with opening up a different chakra from the bottom chakra up.
Okay.
But we're going to start off with our initial question, which is kind of our icebreaker question. Ansley, let's get it in.
Okay. So, Abby, what situation or event did you learn the most information from?
What situation or event did I learn the most information from? Whoa. Yikes. Situation or event. I mean, that's tough. Can I give I'll give a couple of options and then pick one. Situation or event. I mean, I taught for a little while. We talked about that briefly. That was very eye-opening in a lot of ways, like trying to run a classroom and like kind of seeing it from the other, because like it's so funny, like I never really thought about, I thought I'd teach eventually, but I never really thought too much about what it'd be like, and then I kind of got thrown into it, and it was a lot, because so many different students, they all have different personalities, they all have different ways of learning, they all have different ways of communicating, and just like the dynamics of how they interact was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And then situation, I mean, I was an RA, and
As a resident advisor, for those of you who have
resident
never been to
advisor or
college.
resident assistant, I can't remember what it was actually, which title that was.
It's the narc that lives in a dorm and makes sure nobody has fun.
Well, we just have to make sure you're not having too much fun, especially at, your own or somebody else's expense. So, I like to think I was a decently balanced RA, where I was like, y'all be safe, but also not like the lamest.
Do you notice I'm using cool words like y'all?
Is y'all a cool word? Because I get so much flack for that up here.
Yeah.
Like everybody, like I get weird looks.
Well,
up in the Northeast, probably in Pennsylvania more than any other place. Like New York, I didn't feel like I really got too much pushback for y'all, but Pennsylvania specifically, I get kind of like y'all, and it's like, it's wild because it's such a perfect word and it should be everywhere.
Yeah.
And that is, I mean,
we say use.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I feel like y'all is like trying too hard to be like, not down home, but that's the word that's coming to me. Like y'all is like, you're trying too hard to be comfy with me. Like that, you know what I mean? It's like that.
It's too familiar.
It is. It's what a teacher would use to try to sound hip to the students.
I disagree completely.
Well, you're not from Pennsylvania.
I feel like use would be way more hip. Hey, use guys. That sounds like you're trying to be cool, Whereas y'all, it's like, hey, y'all. Stop.
Yeah. I feel like you're intentionally disregarding the retardedness of use.
No, that's what's hip, isn't it? Being like a little dumb.
She might have you there.
I'm not smart enough to know whether or not I'm hip.
Right? Because isn't it not cool to be overly
hip?
smart? No, absolutely not.
Well, it's like one of those things. It's superfluous because you is already plural, and then we add an S to it for no reason at all.
It's better than yins. Which yins I don't like or dislike. I have a very nothingness towards yins, but I like use guys. It's like Jersey and Pennsylvania, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I like that. Use guys sounds cool. It sounds like you're in I don't know, like it's kind of gangstery,
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Hey, use guys.
Like 1920s gangsters?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so did you get jammed up in any weird situations as a teacher? Like, did you have to deal with any?
Of course. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, there was some like aggro-ness going on a little here and there with some of the kids, and so I had to separate that a little bit. Nothing too wild. I mean, I had like a kid who would like yell. he just, I mean, I don't know. I feel it's also weird. I
Was
feel weird
this
talking
kid-
about specific.
Was this kid ethnically challenged?
Which
or
way do
not
we mean
ethnically
that?
challenged? Was he a challenged ethnic?
He did not have. He was not white.
Okay.
He was not a white child.
Dude, your gestures are blowing my mind.
I was gonna say he wasn't this white, but he wasn't.
Okay.
He
I
wasn't.
thought you were going to say he didn't have a record. He wasn't in bondage of any kind.
Oh my god.
He was a freeman.
I was just gonna say like, cause I'm like, woo, I am pale. No,
Yeah.
he was not a white child. And so that was difficult sometimes,
Mhm.
which, you know, thankfully they were small enough to where I didn't feel like overly threatened sometimes, generally, but I was like, yo, this is a lot.
Yeah. Was your whiteness a topic of the yelling?
Sometimes my, I don't think my specific whiteness was too much of a topic, but just like race was a topic a little bit.
And you didn't try to bridge the gap with your dance moves at all?
You know, no. Actually, did I dance? I went to the dance. I guess I actually did dance a little bit while I was there, but not like in front of the classroom to be like, "Hey, look at me, I'm cool."
Hey, y'all, look at this dance I'm doing.
I didn't have, thankfully, I don't have that, like, I wanted the kids to like me as their teacher, but I wasn't like, do you guys think I'm neat or hip or what? I was going to say hip, but we already used that, but neat was a dumb word. But I wasn't starving for their young people approval, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
You
I was just like, please do well. Please pay attention. Please don't talk over me. Can you guys just, they were pretty good about like, if I was like, this is important, then they would stop and listen for a little while. But to be fair, I don't know, they're in 5th grade, it's school. But it was like, it was weird because they were in a middle school setting. So they were 5th graders, but they were in school with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So they were around older kids. So they were in this weird place where like they just came from being, it's such a weird, it's usually the 6th graders who are in that place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they're the ones who are like leaving from being like the top of the school to being the bottom of the school, you know? So they were in that phase, but in 5th grade instead of 6th grade, which is such a weird place for them to be. Yeah. So obviously, like, I didn't take much too personally with, you know, any attitude because I was just like, they're in just a weird place. But yeah, I don't know. I lost my track of thought with that.
Well, I'm curious now. I didn't realize that they were 5th graders yelling in your face.
Oh yeah, I had what he would just like. Yeah, well, and once again, it's so weird because I feel weird talking about specific, but just like there were a couple other things that were like troubling. Yeah, I don't know. I feel weird talking about an individual child, even though I'm not really giving much of his identity away. But yeah.
Well, you gave some of it away.
Looking back, that does look so bad, but I just, you know, yeah. Some of the kids, like, I was worried. Apparently, there was something where they were like putting like hand sanitizer on tissues and then like sucking on them to like try to get like a
little buzz.
Buzz going.
A little 5th grade buzz.
Yeah. I was like, oh no. And also he had an older sister. So it's like, you know, sometimes they're influenced by the older kids. Yeah. I was worried, like I wasn't out in the recess yard very much, but I was like, gosh, because some of I just was worried about, because they would share the bathroom sometimes on the different floors with the older kids, and you know, like, oh gosh, I hope they're not like mean older kids, because sometimes, you know, there's like a little bit of that, like.
Yeah, and 8th grade is very different than 5th grade. Like,
very different.
Yeah. How quickly was the faculty able to recognize that the hand sanitizer was being abused and these kids weren't just extra careful about COVID?
You know, I just let somebody know that I saw that. I don't know how it was handled. So, you know, maybe they were like, oh, maybe that's the conclusion they came to. Although I thankfully didn't see that anymore. That was like, oh my gosh, so stressful to see.
Yeah.
like, oh.
Somebody sucking hand sanitizer out of a tissue stressed you out?
Well, yeah, because then you could you could tell that they were not all there.
Yeah, before and after.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Stop.
For sure.
Sucking on
And
Yeah.
like also this kid, like I really liked this kid. I mean, I liked all of my students, but
Well, he
like,
sounds cool.
well,
He sounds like a good time.
he had some behavioral things that were frustrating, but like he had a lot of like all the kids had redeeming qualities. I don't want to sound too like trying to be proper and like not be like too perfect with my opinions on it and all that stuff, but it's just like, you know, they all had their redeeming qualities, and some of them gave me stress in some ways that others didn't. But one thing I did like about this kid is he played basketball, and which now I'm like, God, not getting into my head about. But anyway,
Yeah.
he would, because one of the teachers would talk about how
He played basketball. He yelled at movies. He was.
No, I just did. I'm like trying not to.
He drove with his seat way back.
Oh my God, I'd be so upset if I found out he was driving. But he just was like got in trouble for something, and they were like, you know, our punishment used to be running. What do y'all call them? We used to call them suicides, but obviously I didn't use that term there. But
Yeah,
like when
shuttle run, suicides.
ladders,
Yeah.
ladders. And he was like, well, I was gonna run those anyway. And I'm like, okay. He had like kind of that attitude of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He really cared about basketball a lot.
Okay.
But I like that attitude. Like, look, I was already going to do the extra work, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's so frustrating too. And I'm sure as parents, it's like a different ball game. Like just with even just my students, like I am a little sarcastic and I kind of enjoy a little bit of that, like pushbacky personality type. So it's hard to be upset when they're like that, but you're like, sometimes you're like, okay, we have to get stuff done today, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the classroom. So it's like hard to be that mad when kids act a certain way when like you have a little bit of that personality type yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's funny when my kids push back a little bit. Ansley, not so much.
Yeah. Well, he sets them up, and then like when I'm trying to get everybody out of the house or do something, and then they like give me attitude, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? You're so rude. And like they're joking because this is how they joke with him, and now I'm the crazy person yelling at people for being disrespectful, and now the whole
Right.
family is like, you need to chill out, lady. And
Yeah.
and it makes me mad.
Are there any other things that like you know that you do that when your kids do it, even though you know that they learned it from you, you're like,
I'm pretty honest about that stuff. I mean, I don't mind it that much. Like, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. So when the kids walk the dog, when they go to the dumpster where they put the poop bag in, my son, he likes to throw it from a distance to see if he can make it in there.
Yeah.
Because it's an open dumpster. And the other day, allegedly, I didn't see it. I only heard about it from one of the kids. But of course, like, you know, it's one of my daughters, so she's probably describing the situation worse than it actually happened. But she claimed that Finn missed the dumpster and hit her in the head with the poop bag.
it's tricky.
And I had to tell him, like, Finn, you know, I keep telling you not to throw the poop in the dumpster. You gotta stop doing that. It's not worth the risk. Like, it's a bag of poop. Think about
I mean, if you're throwing it hard enough to where it's going to explode, it's not worth the risk. But if it's just going to land, it's staying in the bag, what's the risk?
Well, he's also, the way he picks up the poop, like, I'm not convinced it's all inside the bag, you know, like, it's a whole, like, you don't need to be hitting people in the head with
Yeah.
Fair
that.
enough. And then every time I have to tell him about
definitely
that.
Definitely don't hit anybody with
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
But if you miss, that's where I'm at.
So it's so the last time that I had to yell at him about it, it was just like in my mind as she's saying like she got hit. I'm like, well, where was she when he threw it? How far away was he when he threw it? And like, has he made it from there before? Like, has he beat my record? You know? So it's like, I'm not upset about it because I almost want to be like, show me what you did. let me see if it's where I'm throwing it from.
We always make fun of Finn because you'll like say something, he'll be like, well, actually, and he like corrects these like nuances, and we all know where he gets that from.
Well, actually, I'm pretty sure it's But so, Abby, so if you could distill into like a sentence or two what it is that you took from your experience as a teacher, what would you say it is?
What I would take from that experience, teaching is hard. Being a teacher is hard. Being a teacher is hard. Teaching, because teaching, like that part, explaining things is fairly easy to me, for me. Like, I'm pretty good at, like, translating information, especially math, but, like, just, I've always kind of been in the realm of, like, tutoring and stuff, so I'm decent at that. But managing a classroom, what I took from it is I have to be more strict. I'm too nice. I am, like, overly, I tried to be fair to a fault where it became unproductive, right? I'd always just try to be like... Was
a fault that black student you were talking about?
What do you mean by that? It's tricky, right? Because, like, you don't want to treat anybody differently because of how, like, what their race or whatever it is, but, like, you also don't like, I know. Like, you don't want to treat anybody differently, but you also don't, like, want to not treat them the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, which I don't know. I'm confident enough in myself as a person that I wasn't worried about, like, not conscious. I was conscious of it, but, like, I wasn't worried that I had these biases that would lead me to do that, if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying. You don't want to treat anybody differently, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you're acting black. You're acting white.
I use those exact words, yes. And I no longer work there now.
All right.
Because they were like, why didn't you say that sooner?
Yeah. Well, that's perfect. That's perfect. And so now we are going to get into opening up these chakras. You ready for this?
Let's go with the chakras.
All right, cool. So the first chakra is the root chakra that is located somewhere around the butthole.
Okay.
Are you ready to have that chakra popped?
I mean, what?
It's just something I feel like we have to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I know what we're getting into.
So Ace asked the question.
Yeah,
Let's
okay.
go.
Abby, how did you?
She's like, are they going to fight me?
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're good.
I was like, I don't see like any whatever the padding is on the floor in here. I don't think I have another camera set up in that other room.
All right. So Abby, how did you learn to overcome fear?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I don't know, stupidity. Right? You know, just like, let's try, you know. What's the worst that could happen? I mean, I don't know if I've overcome fear completely, but I feel like I'm pretty gung-ho. Well, not just like I feel like I don't really hold back from doing too much because of fear.
Okay.
And I don't really know what it is. I think yeah, I don't know what it is about my life in general that makes me that way, but I have always just been like I'll try it, I'll do it. I got this kind of personality type. Like even as a kid, I like my family tells me I was always very like kind of like independent. Like I didn't really like being held for very long. I was just always like, I want to do things on my own. You know,
Yeah.
I just always had that personality type, I guess.
Okay. Can you remember a time in your life when you were the most scared?
The most scared? Yes, and I don't want to talk about that. I have a few things that come to mind, and none of them feel podcast appropriate.
Okay.
But let me think of a podcast appropriate situation. Fear. The time that I was most scared. 9/11. My dad's a pilot.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a terror. I was like, I got home. I knew kind of what had happened, and I hadn't heard from my dad, and he was late that day coming home, and I was just like, So that was pretty terrifying.
Yeah, how old were you during 9/11?
I think I was in 5th-ish grade, because I was 10.
We were in college.
Yeah. I forget, like, also you guys look great, but like I'm like I forget that you guys are.
Yeah, you better say.
I'm reading it off of my. You guys look great. What am I? But yeah, that was terrifying. What about you guys? I want to. What are your guys' scariest moments?
Oh. Nobody's ever
Turning the
asked us.
tables.
Yeah.
Do people really not asking?
No.
I mean, I'm used to talking about myself to an extent, you know, but like, I'm curious.
Well, I mean, now that you do mention 9/11, that was a little scary for me because Ansley and I were kind of together at this point, but she was abroad in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
She was a chick in Italy. No, she was in school. She was doing classes in Italy. I was back on campus in the States, and when that happened, I don't know. Nobody really remembers this part, but during 9/11, shit was happening all over the world, and like shit was getting chaotic in Europe too.
Right, with what? Terrorist attacks?
Yeah, there were not concentrated. What am I trying to say? What was that? That was twice.
Yeah, I get the hiccups a lot.
That's a hiccup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I usually only get like one at a time. They're very. I've been. It's like since middle school ish. I've just like I get a random hiccup a lot.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be ever since you were a drunk cartoon mouse. But yeah, so not being able to, I was trying to use calling cards to call and make sure she was okay.
Oh my God, calling cards.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I wasn't able to get through to her for quite some time. And it was pretty scary.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was a pretty scary event.
Were you in New York at the time of? Wait, you were trying to get a hold of Ansley?
I was in Italy. She was in college in Easton, Pennsylvania.
Oh, right. Okay. And you were just trying to get a hold of her to make sure.
Just to make sure she was okay, but it was like all the lines were busy. Like there were no phone calls. Like I think even just like a regular phone call.
You couldn't. Yeah, the cell phones weren't working.
It was just everything was just jammed and congested with everybody trying to check on their loved ones.
Yeah.
So I wasn't able to hear from her. And it was another time when we were. Was it El Nino? Was that the big storm?
When we were in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, so we were in Pittsburgh, and then she was on the other side of a bridge that landslided and stuff, like because of the storm.
You know how they have like those 3 rivers that come together? And like Pittsburgh is like there's like 3 rivers that come together
kind
and like
of, very vaguely.
And I would like to work, I had to cross like I don't know, like all of them. And then so like I was trying to get back home and I couldn't because like the bridges were out and like everything was flooded and like we couldn't like cell phones weren't
it was
working.
hard. It was like and it was like every time we would talk to each other we could barely hear each other.
Yeah,
it was a crazy thing, and it was just I guess like the biggest fear for me was just knowing that there was a white woman out there that as a ethnically challenged person I was the last person to see her alive. And I didn't know how to explain it to anybody, you know.
Even when it's just like because wait, what happened exactly? There was what was the actual?
It was like a huge, like one of those hurricanes that like came up the coast.
Oh, it was a hurricane.
Yeah,
okay.
so all the rivers like bank over the banks and.
Yeah, it went crazy. It was like, so those, that natural disaster and that terrorist attack really put me in a scared to go to jail place.
Yeah, you know, I'm disappointed, there's a lot of awful things for the ethnically challenged in the media, but I am glad that it hasn't gotten to a point where y'all are being blamed for natural disaster. I haven't seen that one yet, but you know what? Who knows? Maybe it won't be that long.
Yeah, I think that's more of the Jews thing.
Yeah. Right? So wait, are they ethnically challenged or not ethnically challenged?
Oh, I think they're ethnically crushing it. What is the opposite of ethnically challenged? I think they're the ones challenging the ethnics. I'm just saying.
Whoa,
I'm just saying.
You said it, not me.
And look at Kanye West. That's all I'm saying. Didn't go well for him.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, Ansley, what's your biggest scary moment, fear?
Oh, the first thing that comes to my mind when I was over there in Italy one night, I was like coming back from being out late at like a club, and like I had said goodbye to like the people I was with, and I had to walk home, and there was like a car parked, and like the guy got out and he started following me, and like I didn't know if it was like like the Italian men were like very forward, so it was like, is this human following me? But like either way, it's like this is super creepy, because like now they're gonna follow me to where I live, and like you do the whole thing like with the keys and the nut, and I was I'm going to have to fight this human, and it was just like.
Didn't you call me during that?
I probably did, yeah. Like, cause I was like,
Which also made me really scared.
Yeah. Hey, Sidney, there's nothing you can do, but.
Do you want to hear me die?
Yeah.
Do you want to be on the phone for that?
Yeah.
I don't know if my calling card has that much time. Can you tell him to speed things up, please?
And it ended ended up being fine. And like, I feel like it's like one of those things, like, I feel like I've been in more dangerous situations because like I wasn't really drunk. It wasn't like, like I had like all my wits about me, but it was just like in that moment, it was just like, I don't know, I was like, it's happening.
No, definitely. I mean, it's so funny because like scariest moments, I'm like, are so, some very innocuous moments in my life. I don't know if I'm using that word right. I've a couple times recently I've used words and looked them up and I'm like, what?
Well, can you describe some of these moments? I want to see how close you are to innocuous.
I used the word miser wrong the other day. And then...
Wait, was that one of the innocuous moments you're talking about?
Well, innocuous means like, what does innocuous
Well, no. Describe
like,
one of the moments. No.
Nothing. Okay,
Describe the moment first, and then we'll see how close you are to using the word innocuous correctly.
Just like, because I'm like very easily startled, and I watch so many scary movies. I'm like, I'm always kind of in a scary movie mode, like, just like, I don't, just walking in the dark or like seeing something like, just like, have you ever like had a robe on a hanger on like a coat rack or whatever, and you walk in and looks like you think there's a person in there, just like dumb little things where there's really nothing, but like I'm so easily startled. Okay, but also back to the biggest, like, scariest thing. Have you ever had sleep paralysis?
No.
On that topic, okay, so one of the scariest things I've dealt with, do you know what sleep paralysis is?
Yeah.
So I was with somebody at the time he lived with me, and so we were in bed together, and I had sleep paralysis, which is like you're awake but you're not, and you can't move.
Mm-hmm.
You're paralyzed essentially. Yeah, So sleep paralysis. So my eyes were open, but I felt kind of awake but not completely awake, and I couldn't move at all, and it was like the most terrifying thing. And my boyfriend was right there, and he was right there, and I just wanted to be able to nudge him, like wake him up to help me, and I couldn't, and he was right there. And it eventually you start to be able to move again, but it was one of the scariest things I've encountered.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, and I don't mean to be sexist, I apologize, ladies, but at any point did your female brain start blaming him for being useless in that moment?
Actually, no.
Okay.
Actually, no.
Yeah.
Huh.
Good to know.
It's good to know, because I feel like you would have been like, afterwards, you would have woke up and been like, Sidney, why didn't you help me? Like, I didn't know.
Not that I don't have those moments at all, but like I very much, like, you guys have seen The Princess Bride, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's that scene where they're in the fire swamp or whatever, and he's being attacked by the ROUS, and she's just standing there watching. I have very much a personality type where you probably have the similar too, where it's just like, pick up the stick.
Yeah.
Why are you just letting him get
ravaged
ravaged by that dang ROUS? I have like a very I'll jump in personality.
Ansley, if you don't mind, can you please tell me what the acronym ROUS stands for?
Has it been a while?
It's been a while.
All right. Time is ticking.
It's not
5,
rats.
4.
But what is a rat?
A rodent
3.
of shit. I started.
You want a rodent of unusual size?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember that part.
All right. So we'll call that a fear chakra popped.
Yes.
I feel like that was some good sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Ace, keep it moving.
All right. We are to the pelvis chakra. So this is a segment we like to call My Bad. So it's an opportunity for you, Abby, to apologize to a person, place, or thing in order to set your karma back to neutral.
All right. We just got done doing Abby's Patreon episode, 2 Jack Bros After Dark, and boy, was it a doozy. We had quite a good time. And $1 gets you that exclusive content, which we call 2 Jack Bros After Dark. But we also do some fight commentary and analysis on Ansley's Jiu Jitsu matches and stuff like that. Come on over to the Patreon and have a good time. Abby, did you have a good time on the Patreon?
I had a good time. Make sure you have a GPS because that was hard to follow.
Awesome. All right. So also check out Abby at the Punchline coming up pretty soon.
Yeah,
and
24th.
The 24th?
And the 30th at Helium.
And the 30th at Helium, where she'll be hosting some of the Philly's Funniest contests. All right? And now we are going to get back to this episode and find out who or what Abby has to apologize to.
Nothing. I've done nothing wrong ever. Set my karma back to neutral. What could I apologize for? is it bad? And I feel like a bad person because it's taking me this long to think of something.
Well, no, you're not a bad person, but you just got to pick the one that makes the most sense to you, because sometimes you're not sorry.
Yeah.
You know? So it's got to be something.
See, because I have a personality type. Sometimes I'm overly sorry. Like I feel sorry when I shouldn't. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm overcoming that a little bit, where I tend to, because my like the way I think is like, it doesn't feel productive to blame somebody else, even when it's their fault, because then you can't. You shouldn't blame yourself, but also like you can only control your actions and behaviors, right? Mm-hmm. So like, even if something is somebody else's fault, then sometimes it's like, well, I just need to be away from that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think I overly take on blame, where I'm like, why I don't know. So okay,
yeah.
so
you're making sure that you don't apologize for something innocuous.
Yeah. Yes. Because innocuous is just like nothingness, right? It's just like, I
know what it means.
What does it
mean? But I'm not going to tell you until the end of this podcast.
You're going to make me take time to look it up.
No, we'll just keep using the word.
Okay. What can I apologize for? I'll apologize to my mom for not. Yeah, I don't know. That's tough.
You thought it was just going to come to
it
you
was like, I'll apologize to my mom.
That seems like a good person to apologize for something.
But then again, I never wanted to.
No, yeah, I probably, I could apologize because I don't live next door to her, which is what she would love. So I'll apologize to her for that. Yeah, I'll try to think of something else. Do you guys have a apology in your mind?
I mean, this may be the one thing that we people do ask us on the podcast from time to time, like when they're looking for an example to get their brain going a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I can apologize to all of my close personal friends and family who have had to be within a close proximity to me over these last 2 years while I haven't been wearing deodorant.
Yeah, you should apologize about that.
I saw that. Okay, so you're back on deodorant.
Saw that.
Yeah, I'm back.
So are you aluminum-free deodorant, or do you have like a specific type of deodorant that you are transitioning into out of the no deodorant?
Yeah, it's like
phase of your life?
Irritant-free. It's like they're supposed to be for sensitive skin, but they're still antiperspirant, so they might still have aluminum in them. No, but I think the one that I have says that it doesn't. Mm-hmm. But that's who I would apologize to. A lot of people have been very patient with my odor.
Okay, I will. Yeah. Well, now I feel like I'm piggybacking too much.
No, go for it.
But I'm sure. I used to bike to work sometimes, and I'm sure I had a little bit of an odor at work sometimes. So I will apologize for that, even though I don't feel like I should have to. Keep your distance if you don't like my smell. But yeah, I definitely probably had a couple of days where I was like, "Ooh, I was right." Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I'll apologize to myself. I owe myself an apology. That's deep and meta. Okay.
Yeah, for what reason?
For not having my S together as much as I would like to at this point in my life.
Wait, did you say having your S together?
Oh yeah, I could cuss on this, right?
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh, dear God. Okay. Did you know that was shit?
I would have guessed that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so funny, because teaching, it's such a, I have a surprisingly, not a perfect filter, but a pretty damn good filter. And yeah, just like being around construction, being around comedy, where people just say things, and then being in a classroom setting where you're like, okay, you're trying to make sure you're talking appropriately or whatever. But also some of these kids, I'm like, damn, these kids say some things sometimes.
They say some things.
They say some things.
So what shit would you like to have together that you would be apologizing to yourself for?
I wish I had like more settled in somewhere, and like like paying a mortgage on something instead of
A house.
moving around, a house or something, you know, just a little bit more rooted, feel more rooted at this point in my life. Like I've moved around a lot and I've really enjoyed living a lot of different places. And I think there's a lot of great things that have come from that. But I also like, you know, am craving more of like a just kind of settling into somewhere, in because I just haven't had that mentality. I've always been like, you know, just focused on other things and just moving around for whatever my goals are at the time and not focusing on that. And so, you know, not that I'm that old, but just like I am getting to that point where I'm like, okay, I just kind of want to like have a little bit more, less chaos, more rooted lifestyle.
I feel like we've reached the point that like a move at this moment would be like we couldn't do it, you know, like we'd need movers. And I don't like it at all. Like because up until moving here, like everywhere, you know, when it was just me and him, it was easy. Like we could pack, we could move, we'd do it in our cars. We didn't even get moving trucks.
Call up a couple people.
Yeah.
Buy some pizzas and sandwiches.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's done. And like, but now it's like, and it's like just that idea that like, if we ever wanted to, like, it's such a process, and it's like it's
a lot.
Yeah, because we did
it's a
move
lot
around.
even for one person, but with like a house, you know, because I've never moved more than like a 1-bedroom apartment for myself. And so
I'm a little jealous of that freedom that you're
definitely
talking
and there's
about
a lot
right
of
now.
There's a lot of good aspects to it, but you know, even I like look back at how much I've moved in my life and I'm like, damn, that is it's just a lot of work. And it's a lot, I mean, it's what is nice about it is like it makes you go back through your stuff regularly and kind of go through like what do I have and like what do I want to keep, and how, you know, you're doing inventory on your life pretty often. So that's kind of an interesting aspect to it. But
okay. So we got an apology to yourself for not being more settled down, an apology to your coworkers for showing up with a little bit of bike funk, and then a phantom apology to your mom.
For just in general, you know what I mean? Your mom, you deal with things. I'm sure I've been a little, I've been cunty. I'm sure.
Man, it blows my mind that you're not a dancer. You literally dance for almost everything you say.
I have a lot of movement about me. I don't know how much rhythm comes along with it sometimes. But I do talk with I did grow up in an Italian restaurant. Okay, my step family's
Olive
Italian.
Garden.
That doesn't count.
Yeah. Okay. My bad.
Hardly counts.
My bad. I think you were pretty in rhythm with the word cunty when you were dancing, by the way.
So I've got the hand talking thing going on a little bit.
Okay. All right. Well, that's definitely a pelvis chakra popped.
Yes.
Ace, keep it going.
All right, we are to the gut chakra.
Oh God.
So Abby, how do you move past disappointment either in yourself or loved ones?
How do I move past disappointment myself? Honestly, I think just so, I mean, with stand up, you deal with so much, because you have these ideas, you go on stage, you think they're going to be great, and then they're not. So you deal with like rejection a decent amount and disappointment just through that. And so I think you just become I think I got desensitized to it. Disappoint myself. It just kind of depends. I try to be realistic with the way I look at myself, but you know, just accepting yourself and others. I mean, everybody sucks. Everybody messes up, and everybody. I have a lot of empathy and sympathy for, because nobody wants people to be disappointed in them, and nobody wants to feel disappointed in other people, right? Like nobody wants to be in that situation. So I think, you know, just kind of accepting that we're all so fallible, and that life is short, but it's also long.
Yeah.
And you're going to mess up, and, you know, you just try to learn from things. I think just like the biggest thing is like learning from it and trying not to make similar mistakes that lead to that disappointment. So yeah, I don't know. I'm very patient and understanding, I think, generally.
Okay. I think I hear what you're saying.
Disappointment in myself and in others.
So it's like instead of being disappointment, you just lower your bar.
Not necessarily. I mean, because like I still have that, like, I don't want that to happen again. You know what I mean? I just think, I just try to be because what good comes from like honing in on things and over focusing on it in a negative way, right? Like what good comes from like self-hatred or like hatred of others for, I guess disappointment's not hatred, it's different, but like, you know, over focusing on that I feel like isn't as productive. So I'm kind of like I don't know. Also, I played sports, you know, it's like you lose games, you get tackled, and you're on the floor, you got to get back up. It's just like, I don't know, resilience, I think, is the best way to get over disappointment in yourself.
I think it's interesting with kids because you're like, sometimes you're like, especially like with a little boy, you're like, I want you to feel that I'm disappointed in you so that you know this is serious. And then as soon as I get him to feel that, I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. You shouldn't really like take that off. Like,
definitely,
it's just,
definitely.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Dude, why are you crying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I take it back.
Yeah.
I 100% feel that, because that's another thing too, like with teaching, like the expectations that I had versus like what the expectations were passed down to me to have on the students.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they're people, you know, like I would want them to like do their homework, but then some of these kids are like, look at my schedule, like I've got all these things. I'm like, dude, like I get it, like I was that kid, I was busy, I hated homework. That was the hardest thing for me. Homework was the bane of my existence.
Yeah.
Or the bane of it. I hated doing homework. I'm like, why can't I just pay attention in class?
Yeah.
Why do I have to do stuff at school? We're at school for however long.
Time. Yeah.
And I have to do stuff at home too.
Yeah.
And then I'm having to hold these kids accountable for that. And like, I'm getting like, not yelled at. I'm getting these people being like, you know, are you keeping up with homework? And it's like, I don't even care that much, but I have to care. So, yeah, it's tricky. And yeah, definitely seeing this, like watching a kid become disappointment is like a hard thing. You're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to ask this question during this segment. You brought up sports for a little bit, but so was there a situation either in sports or maybe performance arts that you might have partaken in where you have like a solitary disappointment that still haunts you?
In sports? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm sure there was a handful. I mean, anytime I didn't win. Well, disappointment myself.
It could be in the team as well.
I mean, there have just been times. I remember there was one team specifically when I was playing rugby. They were just like, sometimes when you're up against another team, you're like, okay, we could be doing this better or this better. But this team was just like bigger and fast. It's like, dang, you guys are fast and just like they just dominated us. And it was one of those things where I'm like, I guess I'll keep playing. I guess I'll keep going out there. But I know we are just going to lose this game so bad and so hard. Yeah. And, you know, sometimes you're like, dang, I wish I could have come up with something to maybe cancel out some of those points that they scored on us. But yeah, in sports, I don't.
Were they?
Oh,
go ahead.
Another is I swam for the longest time, and then I tried out for the swim team, and just like I hadn't swam in so long, and they were just on a different, like when you continue to practice, especially as swimming, I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. It is such a workout, and it's such a full body workout. And I just remember being like, dang, I wish I had pushed harder and like practiced more and been in better shape for that. I don't know. I don't really know.
Did you not make the swim team?
I did not. Actually, I don't even know if I continued in trying out for it. I think I jumped back into a league to see where I was at, and I was like, oh, this is going to take like a lot of catching up. And I didn't want it that bad.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, because people don't get cut from swim teams, right?
Yeah, they do.
They do?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Or at least, like, I mean, here's the thing. If you're not playing, you might as well be cut too. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but it is different. But I'm thinking high school, not college.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know about college though.
All right. Well, we'll take that as a
My answer was all over the place.
gut chakra pop.
Yes.
We're
yes.
popping chakras. We're moving along. Ace, keep it moving.
All right, we are to the heart chakra. So, Abby, what have you learned from grief?
Oh God. What have I learned from grief? That's tough. And it's like frustrating. Like whenever you go through anything and people are like, it just takes time. It takes time. It's like frustrating to hear that. But like there's some truth to that. But then there's also, it's more than just time. But sometimes a lot of the time, like it is just,
It sounds like you don't want to admit those people were right.
well,
It sounds like you're holding on to like those people were fucking insensitive and not like bad timing on their part. But yeah, it does take time. They were right.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. It's like you just like it's so fresh, and you just need some time to recover. I mean, like, yeah, and also it's what have I learned from grief? It's also just kind of wild the waves that it comes in that you don't realize. Like sometimes you think you're doing okay. You're like, oh, like this isn't affecting me like I think it's going to. And then it just hits you a different time. And you're like, oh, this is really affecting me. And so just, I would say trying to stay busy. One thing I saw that I liked, it was like, if you think your mental health is doing bad, go for a run and see how your physical health is doing. Or something like that. And
now I'm sad for 2 reasons.
Yeah.
it takes your mind off of it.
Yeah.
When you're struggling to breathe, it's harder to think about things that are making you sad when you're, barely surviving a workout.
Yeah, because now you know that you can be murdered at any moment and you probably couldn't defend yourself.
But, well, I guess in that moment, but hopefully you could get away quicker if you continue working out. That's why I'm like, I think I would do okay in some fights, but I don't consider myself a fighter. But I try to be quick. I just try to, I'm like, I think I could maybe escape.
Okay.
I bank more on escape than winning a fight, I think.
That makes a lot of sense. Would you like to have that tested?
Or making them laugh.
Yeah.
or appealing to their humanity or something. I'm like, maybe I can charm them out of not wanting to hurt me.
How about we
out of wanting to hurt
tell our kids not to let you leave the house, and you see if you can get out.
Oh God, I mean, I would be so like with kids, I'd be too scared. Like it would be difficult because I'd be worried I'd actually like hurt them. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, we squeeze my hand. I think it'd be okay.
Okay, I mean,
that was a good squeeze. That was a good squeeze. I apologize.
Okay, so I didn't even try that hard.
Yeah, I was just taking an opportunity for a cheap joke. I apologize.
I take back my thing about sports disappointment, and it was that hand squeeze right there. That I'll never live down. I can't.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But I like your answer for dealing with grief. I mean that is. Time is very important, and the fact that it just comes in waves, like people don't really expect that. People think they're going to deal with it in a moment, and they think that they dealt with it, and they move on, but it keeps coming.
Yeah,
it keeps coming.
Changes.
Yeah.
So,
comes in waves.
Yeah, we'll call that a heart chakra popped.
Yes.
And also that I even did that challenge. That's what I regret. Just like, okay. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. All right, Ace, keep it moving.
All right, this is the throat chakra. So, Abby, what is a favorite lie that you have told or you are telling? Extra karmic points if it's still in rotation.
What is a favorite lie I've told? Oh, okay. This one's fun. I had just watched Into the Wild in high school. I think I was a sophomore or something. And our teacher did this thing. It was like a blow-up globe, and she threw it around the room. And when it got to you, you had to talk about a time you feel like you didn't have a home, which I thought was just a very weird exercise.
Yeah.
I was like, well,
especially for the ethnically challenged kids.
Well,
that's insensitive.
White people be homeless too.
That's fair.
But it got to me, and I was like, this is dumb. And I started talking about the plot to Into the Wild. I was like, I went on a vacation with my family to Alaska, and I got separated from them, and I couldn't find them for days, and I found this abandoned trailer, and I was scared. I didn't know if I could eat the berries off the trees, and like,
How were people reacting? Like, how did your teacher react to that?
I'm sure it was varied, but I had a couple girls come up to me after the class, and they were like, "Oh my God, we are so sorry that you dealt with that." And I probably just laughed.
Yeah.
I was just like, "Oh, I didn't realize that was convincing." So that's probably my favorite lie that I've ever told.
That's a good one.
Great.
I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah. Man, that was wow. First of all, that was the fastest answer that blurted out of you was the lie answer. But I'm also curious, like, how quickly you came up with that. Like, were you already planning to do that if the globe came to you, or when the globe hit your hands, you were like, and then?
I don't remember. I maybe was thinking about it before it got to me. I just, I don't remember anybody else's stories. I just remember they being like, I just was like, I hate this. I hated it so much. That's all I remember about it. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a crazy exercise.
Yeah.
I think so.
To make people share that.
100%. It's such a weird, because like, you know, school is a community, and it is the people you spend so much time with. So, but it's hard to balance how much of your personal life, I guess.
Yeah, I would have been
that's
such
like
a bummer.
grief. That's like, that could be grief, you know, because there's probably kids who are like, I was actually homeless.
Yeah.
And then there's some kids who are like, I have literally no idea what that would even, can't even conceptualize that as a possibility. So, so that was quite weird.
Yeah, it's quite weird. And also an awesome lie. That is an incredible lie.
Thank God I had just watched that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would have said.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they were like, oh my God, this is gripping.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
If I didn't think of that, I probably just would have been pass. I mean, you can't make me make me answer that.
Did your story have a plot twist at all? I don't remember Into the Wild at all.
I don't. You don't remember Into the Wild?
No.
I think did he end up dying?
Did you die in your story?
I mean, I am pale. They might have believed that.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, so that is a throat chakra popped.
Yes.
Just moving right along.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Ace, keep it moving.
All right, we're now to the third eye. So we're out of the physical into the metaphysical.
Okay.
So what is something that you've always thought was separate, but you're learning it's really the same?
What is separate, but where you're learning it's the same? Oh man, that's a deep question. How many people have been? Every guest you've ever had has all these same questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mad that I didn't watch prepared.
It's our fault for having it be called Two Jack Bros.
Yeah.
It's not a very descriptive name for what we do.
But here's the thing. This is enlightening because some people think that bros don't have feelings, but bros got feelings.
Oh,
Everybody got feelings.
Yes.
that's what we be trying to say.
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying. What is separate, but it's actually the same? People, we're all one. It's all one energy out there. And I don't completely believe that, but like, I do think, you know, people's energy spreads, you know what I mean? Like, negative and positive. What is something that I thought was separate, but is actually the same? Texas and the United States.
Ooh. I mean, we lived in Texas. That's actually a pretty good answer.
Yeah.
You lived in Texas?
Yeah, we lived in Texas.
When? How long?
For a little over a year.
Yeah.
And I think it was 2003 to 2004.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what part?
Euless, Texas, like right between Dallas and Fort Worth.
Oh.
Right at the airport.
Oh,
like
whoa.
under the airport.
Interesting. Okay. Did you like it there?
We were ready to go.
Yeah, it was really ready to get out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, but also too, we thought we found this ridiculously cheap place to live where we lived in a townhome,
Okay.
and we had 2 bathrooms.
It was
2 full
ridiculously
bathrooms.
cheap.
Yeah,
It was
but
like $600.
it was $549.
$550? Oh,
$549. I remember that very
Yeah.
specifically. However, like Ansley described, we lived right under the airport. Like it was like when planes took off and landed, it was so
did you have
loud.
Cable or satellite?
I think
We
it
had
was
cable, yeah.
it was
You
cable.
have to if you're
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
an airport like that because the signals get all kinds of messed up. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
just throwing out a little information right
Yeah,
there. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you know, but my dad, he's a pilot.
I didn't know that because he's a pilot. I knew that because I had friends that lived near an airport and they had satellite.
Yeah.
And it just would mess up their connection all the time. But like, because I had a friend, like, it's funny being in Texas and seeing the Texas flag and the American flag flown at the same
Mm-hmm.
height.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't see it all the time, but, and here's the thing, I'm not like, because I'm from Texas, like, I don't like actually want them to secede, but like, I do love that about Texas, that they have that, where they're
Yeah.
like, there's like a lot of Texas pride, which I was not about growing up. But now it's like grown on me a lot, I guess, over the years.
Okay, so that is your answer then? Texas in the United States?
Yeah, I don't have anything deep.
It doesn't have to be deep. It just has to be, you know, well, I mean, again, that answer is fine.
Okay, thank you.
But if you feel compelled to reach for something different, we've got time.
I'll come back to it if I think of something else.
Okay. Well, we're almost at the end, so you don't have a lot of time.
Okay. All right. Okay. I was gonna make a comparison between Pennsylvania and Texas. Something else that I noticed, and it's frustrating that I've lost it. There's something else that I really like about Pennsylvania, and I'll have to come back to it.
Okay.
I will.
We'll call that that's a chakra kind of like pricked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I'll work on that one.
Yeah.
I'll keep that one in mind.
Put a slow leak in that chakra.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We're good.
Fair.
We're
Fair.
good. It's losing air,
yeah.
right? It's not complete.
gassing,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's deflating.
Yeah.
It's the chakra
Oh, how sad.
that will. I mean, unless you want to take another second to pop that chakra, pop that chakra, pop that chakra. You
I
want-
got nothing.
Do you want
absolutely
examples of some stuff
Yes,
that other people might have
absolutely.
said? Can you think of anything that?
Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah. I can go like a real easy one. Friends and family. That's one thing that people, somebody said. I don't remember exactly who. I wish I did, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I disagree.
Well, I think the way that they answered, the reason why they said friends and family
But
are the same is because when you later in life, the people that you pick to be in your life feel more like family than some of your family.
No,
actually
totally.
do. Yeah.
I don't completely disagree. I just, yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, I guess I don't completely disagree. That's very Fast and Furious mentality.
Yeah.
This is my family.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's another thing too. From moving around so much, I have like so many good friends in so many different places, but like I don't have that. Like I haven't been in the same place for that long in a while.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I have good old friends, and I have people that when I'm with them, it feels like no time has passed, and like I know that they'd have my back and I'd have their back. But like, and it does become that way, I suppose, because so I do agree with that. I was just trying to be I was just having a little confrontational moment, but yeah, no, I do agree with that. But I have always been so focused on family, like family,
Mm-hmm.
that it feels somewhat separate for me because I have spent time making my actual family my friends too, if that makes sense. Like I like my family, especially some of us, go out of our way to keep up so much that like, and I know that. So yeah, friends. So yeah, I guess the family that you keep in your life to become your friends, and just as the friends that you keep in your life become your family.
Yeah, I mean that was, even though that was.
That sounded deep enough.
Yeah,
I'm proud of
like
that. How that
similar
tied
and
up.
not the same. At the same
Yeah.
time,
Yeah. No.
right?
No. For sure.
Because it's
for sure.
I almost, if you don't mind me trying to parse this out, but it's almost like you're saying that the work that it takes to keep your family close is the same that it would take to keep friends close.
I feel like it takes more work to keep friends. Well, no, actually, I kind of. I don't know. That's tough. It takes.
I was just trying to.
Yeah,
you shouldn't.
I'm sorry.
my bad.
I was just trying to surmise what I thought you said. I apologize. I'm so sorry. No, you were right. I'm sorry, Abby. You were right.
I mean, definitely. Yeah, friends and family. Okay, I like that one. Can you think of any other past answers that are like?
I feel like somebody had something about like it was like things ending and things starting, like the grief and the joy. It's like all the same because like you can't
Have
one
without
without
lows.
Yeah, like, and you can't have one without the other. Like, you can't embark on new things without something having to end. And so, like, but I feel like they said it better.
Yeah, Abby, you're getting out deep by some retards. Some people that have been on here that shocked, like, whoa, you can say that? You might be the smartest. You're clearly one of the smartest people we've had on here and you're getting
my intelligence is an absolute burden.
Dunked on by idiots.
not to go too far into but also like because it's what's something I think is separate is the same, but also something I thought was the same that is actually separate is I'm very hard on myself, and I think sometimes I place that outside where I think other people are being hard on me, but it's actually me being hard on me. Does that make sense? Where I have like an inner dialogue where I'm frustrated with myself, and then it feels like it's coming from the outside.
Yeah.
So
well,
that's actually separate that I think is the same.
One of the questions from the Patreon, but never mind.
Yeah.
Hold on that answer. You might need it. But we'll call that chakra pop now.
Yeah.
You pop that chakra.
Okay. I'm confident about that one.
Yeah. Okay.
That one feels popped. The last one, not so much.
No,
but this one I feel like
was the same one. First you pricked it, now you popped it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Glad we got there.
Something that you thought was separate but the same, that question. It was the same question. So, all right, chakra popped. Ace, let's close this out.
All right, we're to the crown chakra.
Okay.
So this is a two-parter, Abby. So what is something you can't give up and why? And what would giving it up mean?
Dairy. I love ice cream. A deeper answer. What is something I can't give up? My stubbornness. I don't know. Is that deep enough?
Let's just say yes, that is deep enough. Also, too, we're not necessarily looking for what would you consider deep answers, but we're looking for what we consider your answer.
Yes.
Was that deep? Was that deep?
You got it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What is something I don't know? What can I not give up? Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to think of anything besides dairy and bread. What can I not give up?
Your cork shoes.
Yeah, my cork shoes. Those would be tough.
Yeah.
Those would be tough.
Well, I'm curious about this stubbornness that you broached slightly.
I don't know. I just was trying to throw something out there. I feel like I'm kind of a stubborn-ish person. I'm like hard. I can be a little when I set my mind to something. It's hard to sometimes always take in the opinions around you, even if they have validity to them. And
like if somebody says grief takes time, and you're like, "Fuck that."
Yeah, I'm gonna
but
not
also,
be sad
yes.
in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What are some other things people can't give up?
A lot of comedy.
Yeah.
Comedy's tough. Comedy's tough.
Yeah. There's been alcohol. There's been cigarettes. There's been marijuana.
Weed. A lot of
Weed
weed.
is
Weed
tough.
and comedy.
I have not smoked in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not like, I need it. But like, I miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss it. Because like, I think you can have healthy and unhealthy. It's tricky. But like, I've had times in my life, both with alcohol and weed, where it's like, I've had some times where I feel like it's a little unhealthy of a relationship. And then I've had times where I'm like, fine with it. So anyway, but yeah, weed is particularly. Every once in a while, I'm like, damn, I just want a joint.
Yeah.
I just want to chill and watch TV and have an afternoon outside. You know what I mean? And I haven't I'm not I don't think I'll ever smoke again or anything like that. But I just haven't been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, comedy is very tough to give up in some ways, but I've also taken breaks from that when needed. And I don't feel the same kind of I need to be doing it all the time, which it was just kind of my lifestyle for the longest time. I just did it.
Yeah.
I did it a lot. Oh my God. It's so wild looking. The amount of time I've been on stage it's wild. But how about you? Have you thought of do you feel that way with comedy?
Kind of. But do you mind if I ask this question a different way? What is something that over time you have made an important part of your identity?
I don't feel like I make anything in particular a huge part of my identity. I feel like things are made part of my identity, but not through me.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I feel like people associate me with a certain identity, but I don't feel like I'm going out of my way to make that my identity. It's just that is what people associate with me at the time. When I played rugby, people were like, "Oh, you play rugby." When I doing comedy, people are like, "Oh, you're,"
So can I get another crack at it?
Yeah.
What is something that you would say, I wouldn't be Abby if not for?
Probably my awkward, these hand gestures, maybe. I don't know.
Credible. I believe that.
So probably along those lines. What else? I don't know. Well, you guys tell me.
I'm very curious. What
do you guys associate with me? You know me a little bit better, but.
Honestly, not until this podcast did I really associate you with your almost cartoonish expressions. I don't think I've ever really. I noticed it before, but I don't think I really noticed it before. You know, it was like, whoa, holy shit.
Are you okay with him describing them as cartoonish expressions?
I'm okay.
She asked.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt my feelings, should it?
He loves, and in his defense, he does love cartoons. And I think coming from him, it's a compliment. Because
I have described myself as a little cartoonish at times. I definitely put on a bit of a cartoony air sometimes. It just depends on my, we're doing a podcast, so I feel a little bit like I'm trying to get my, because also we talked, I had a long day. I was kind of tired, and then talking to you guys is brought the energy back up, and so I think part of it is that's part of trying to find energy and have energy, and now I'm doing it even more, and I can't stop. I can't not notice it. It's driving me crazy. I feel like Jim Carrey and Liar Liar. Wait, is that the one where he has the hand?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Claw.
The Mask? I don't know.
One of those.
How about we ask this question then? So what do you think it would mean to give up your expressiveness, your hand gestures?
I think it would just be a more boring existence for me. I think or maybe just a more calm one. But I don't know. I don't know what it would be like to give it up. I don't know. When I'm on stage, I guess I have a little bit of it going on. It would just be difficult. It would be hard. It would probably feel like I was I don't know. It would probably feel restraining.
Yeah.
Because I have noticed, you guys are very, you guys have just been, sitting here the whole time, very calm, collected. And I guess I am the one who's answering questions.
Yeah. We're listening.
But, I move around a lot. I just have,
Could you imagine if we were, as we were listening, making a bunch of gestures? Just wow. High-fiving each other.
Yeah, I was very comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Because also like I associate you, like I know you from comedy, and like I know this is probably, is this like marketed as a comedy podcast, or is it just kind of like a podcast in general?
It was a comedy podcast.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I don't know. So like I just, I feel like it when I am in this space, yeah, that's what I associate it with. And so it's like, I just feel like I would probably, if I was sitting like this, my answers would probably be less charismatic and fun. And I feel like that wouldn't be as good for this.
But what would you have done differently if, when you asked that question, is this marketed as a comedy podcast or just a podcast? If I said just a podcast, what would you have done differently?
Nothing. I would have moved forward no different. But it would have been good to know. I'm like, well, maybe you have this under like the chakras. Maybe you have it under the spiritual thing. Because like, it's funny because like with chakra, it feels so like deep and like trying to come up with like real thing, So earlier I was in my head, I was like, oh gosh, should I be trying to ham it up more instead of like, because I'm like actually genuinely trying to think of like real answers for these questions, because these are deep questions.
Deep questions.
Something that's separate that's actually the same.
Yeah.
That's deep, man. It's so funny because I'm like, I don't like, like you don't want dead air, right? Because I think about that, but I'm like, I want to think about that. I want to think about that question. That like made me really think.
Yeah. That's why I like the idea now that we're bringing on repeat guests. We're bringing them back for a second time. They're comfortable. They had the experience, and now they can just let loose.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is so Abby, that was basically it. How do you feel?
I feel good. This was lovely.
Yeah?
It was nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I wish that I had there's a couple questions like that's how I am after almost anything where I'm like, what could I have done better? But this was really fun. It was lovely.
Okay. And our Patreon goes a little faster. Do you have time to stick around for that?
Yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah. And just so you guys know, our Patreon is only $1, which gets you all of our exclusive content, which not only the counter to this podcast, which we call Two Jack Bros After Dark, where we will enlighten Abby's shadow self, but we also do some fight commentary and analysis on Ansley's Jiu Jitsu matches. Fun times. And unbeknownst to Ansley, I plan on doing a little bit more with the podcast, more content. She'll be okay with it in the future. $1, all of our exclusive content. Oh yeah, we didn't even ask you. Do you have anything coming up you want to promote?
Yeah, and I need to look. I am going to. When does this come out?
2 weeks. Not this Sunday. The Sunday after.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to be at Punchline on the 24th.
Ooh.
So check that out. And I'm also hosting Funniest, which I guess I'll probably doing the same amount of time because I'm pretty sure I close out the show.
Yes.
Funniest is like, even if you don't know somebody who's in it, it's fun to go to because everybody's like trying their best stuff and there's people who don't usually do it. And I love hosting that because you just kind of, I don't know, it's fun to just fuck around at the end. And so it's fun stuff. So I'm hosting that on the 30th.
And just so you know, we're talking to a former winner of Philly's Funniest right here.
That's true.
Abby, the champ. The champ is here. Well, now we're going. The champ is gone. So thank you guys so much. We appreciate all of the support. Definitely check out that Patreon. Definitely go check Abby out at the Punchline. We love you guys, and we are out.
See ya.
Two Jack Bros. Two Jack Bros.